Ryan Clark folded.
You think he folded?
He folded.
There's a very good reason to take it out because you don't want to embarrass your guests.
Yeah.
I asked everybody in a respectful manner, but then I take it out. What? And you had the nerve to stand on business with me?
Extreme. I don't know if you want to cut this out, but I'll put my fingers up so you know.
If we standing on business with protecting black women, why are we removing anything that involves that? I don't want to hear no protecting black women no more from this unless he start putting them conversations in there. Andrew Schulz went on the pivot, and this is probably almost a year post.
Think that long?
If I don't know, it could have been 6 months ago, but it felt like a year post his back and forth with them about protecting black women. Who's the host of the pivot again?
Ryan Clark.
Ryan Clark. So Ryan Clark.
Well, there's two other dudes.
I forgot the light skin dude, the swinger's name.
Yeah, the nudist.
Oh,
there was a moment in time when I would just like watch the clips, but it felt like we were getting really personal into his life, and I said, I don't want to know that.
Yeah, it got a little deep.
It got a little crazy. I think they kind of full, but it was just a little too much.
A little bit too mature for most audiences.
Right. But long story short, Ryan Clark went at Andrew Schulz during the shits and gigs time period. Yeah, that wasn't a year
because of that.
And he was saying, protect black women. You got these dudes up here. You're making jokes, blah, blah, blah. And he was standing on shit for real. Also, within that, I remember him also saying that whoever his black friends are need to be checking him. I don't know if he used _𝔓𝔦𝔐𝔓𝔦𝔑 by name, but he might have just said black friends. But we can watch it because you put the original.
Yeah, it should be the last. It should be the
pivot,
last link in there.
Yeah, let's just watch what he said.
And the other dudes' names are Channing and Fred. You know, we gotta.
And you could just go to like 15 seconds.
15 seconds.
They start right in.
Who have a very popular podcast in the UK, and it does like relationships. They read tweets and about stories. They were sitting with Andrew Schulz, and they started talking about the black woman effect. And they were mostly talking about like in the Travis Kelce case, right? The fade, the beard, stuff like that. And Andrew Schulz said it's a defense mechanism. And he said, you know, because you might get beat. And he also said that some of what they did was in protection because they were always complaining. And the other two, the two black men.
You know, hearing him repeat it back, I remember this moment, but hearing him repeat it back, it sounds so ridiculous out of his mouth. That had to be a joke, right? like it sounds ridiculous him repeating it.
It depends on perspective, AJ.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Because Andrew Schulz, as a name, if you don't see his face,
right.
It's like, whoa, what the fuck?
Because I'm listening to it right now. I'm like, yo, this sounds fucking crazy.
It's so absurd. It has to be funny,
right?
Or it has to be non-intentional.
Yeah, bro. Because this is wild. Just hearing the nigga repeat it. Because I remember hearing Andrew say it, but just how he heard that shit is funny.
Yeah, how black women heard it.
Right. All right, we get play.
And just sat and laughed. I think they've taken a lot of backlash for that. Obviously, Andrew Schulz had taken backlash for it. What are your thoughts on being in that sort of situation and how to handle it?
I would first say, you know, I've dabbled in the comedic side of things, and you pushed the envelope with that. But with that, I don't know how y'all feel. I've never heard of the black woman effect, because that's all I've dated. So I don't know if there's a white woman effect, Indian woman effect, Asian woman effect, but to speak on black women like that, that's all I was raised around. That's all I've ever dated. That's all I know. That's all all I've been married to. Obviously, only been married once. But there are certain things you can't do. And so with Schulz, it doesn't have to be combative and fighting and getting her back and crazy.
It's really about Ryan Clark. It's not about you. Sorry, buddy. But
shout out Channing, though.
Yeah, shout out Channing. So that was the original statement. And now he has officially gone on the pivot. And I mean, how y'all feel about this shit?
When I was first watching it, I was like, damn. I was disappointed at Schulz because I felt like he was kind of taking the easy way out of certain things they would say, but eventually it got to the point where he was kind of working the room. Like he had started using their logic against them to where I was like, all right, I see the argument that Schulz is making.
He pulled the hypocrisy card, like the whole, well, you've had abusers on here, you know, that have actually like hurt women, you know, and not in a joking manner. And he's done that whole thing. We're going to hear him talking about it. It's probably best if we do that. But
this definitely got off to a very awkward start.
This is 45-35, right?
I find the suit funny though.
That he wore a suit there. Was he? I think Ryan.
The
Clark
Andrew
was a suit.
Schulz.
Yeah, because he was mocking Ryan Clark for,
Yeah.
his fashion sense.
Yeah.
But it definitely got off to a weird start because, Andrew came in with the suit gimmick.
50,
It's the
21.
bravado too.
And he had everybody's initials and shit, but they eventually got to the point where they've kind of found common ground and they was able to laugh at each other. Like it wasn't as it didn't feel like an interrogation.
Yeah.
Felt like these niggas was having a healthy conversation, but that's what Ryan Clark is good for.
Yeah.
Ryan Clark got a real good listening face.
Ryan Clark folded.
You think he folded?
He folded. Talking about I take it out. Once he said I take out when I press other niggas, I don't give a fuck when you press anybody now. Why are you taking out when you're pressing other people in interviews respectfully, however you do it, but you release this one? Like you try to join a dog pile.
Well, you didn't ask him to take it out.
Yeah, because it was just like a sidebar thing. It wasn't an interview. So he's saying, Schulz is saying like he went up there and he's like, once you started coming at me, I immediately looked to see if you have interviewed any abusers. Then he was like, yeah, you have. So then now I'm looking, are you pressing them? Do you have that same energy that you had for me?
Yeah.
You're not keeping the same energy at all. So you're asking the question, but then removing it?
Well, he did. He asked the question, but out of respect to the guests who asked to take it off, he took it off, which is a different conversation.
It's probably because they're black
fuck
guests
no.
too.
No,
they're black
hell
guests.
no.
He's fighting for black people.
If we standing on business with protecting black women, why are we removing anything that involves that? That doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense. But you got the time to leave this one up and press Andrew Schulz, but you take it out every other time you.
Because he
Fuck out of here. That's crazy.
because he didn't ask him to take it out.
No, hell no.
Why can't both of these
which
things
means
be
protecting
true?
black women to him is a marketing scheme. It's just some shit that as a black man I'm supposed to say. I protect all black women. I'm pressing niggas, but I take it out the press. Why? What are we doing right now?
Well,
You ain't standing on shit.
publicly, I mean, and it's like pressing.
And
Do we really need
I'm
to?
using pressing, but even the way he articulated, he's like, I'm asking them in a respectful manner. I'm just using pressing. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So, period. If you're asking in a respectful manner, even better reason to keep it in there. They should have a respectful adult response to your gentleman way of asking. You've been in the media you've been convicted guilty of assaulting women. You've admitted it. Let's talk about it real quick if that's really what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
You've been through it. You should have an adult answer that we can all understand and feel and blah, blah, blah. And we keep it pushing. What the fuck are we taking it out for?
Because the guests felt uncomfortable with leaving it in.
Hell no.
And you kind of don't want to
But-
have that kind of reputation
That's
with
fake,
guests on
bro.
your show.
That's fake.
Is it fake or is
fake
it
as hell.
partly
That's nasty.
It's partly business.
But don't we ask that of like niggas like Vlad to where niggas go on there and start talking about crimes they committed? Like, hey, you should take that out to protect that person.
Fuck out of here. Protect black women. Niggas get on like podium. Niggas get on towers with this protect black women shit. And you're pressing somebody that you're not even doing an interview with. It's some sidebar in the conversation. But when we get to see you defend black women amongst other black men in an adult conversation, you want to take it out? Fuck out of here. That's crazy to me.
I think a big thing.
I don't ever want to hear you say I'm protecting black women at all times. You're not, because you're hiding that. You're hiding the conversations that we need to be having. Come on, bro. Hell no. He can't stand on. I don't ever want to hear him stand on that shit again.
I think both
He
of
got to
those
keep
things,
that same energy with everybody.
I think both of those.
Yeah.
I think
Period. That's
It's
crazy.
no middle ground.
No.
I think those can both be true at the same time. I think you could try to have like a good faith conversation, especially because Ryan Clark, from what it sounded like, he wasn't trying to have a got you moment with these niggas. He wasn't trying to press them and
there's nothing
embarrass
wrong-
them. It
and that's
sounded
okay.
like he
Yeah.
wanted to have a really constructive conversation with these niggas. And when he tried to do it, they saw that and felt, I'm uncomfortable with this being out. So then it's kind of like, it would be weird if he dropped it after that. Because we had that conversation under the guise of like, all right, this is a open atmosphere.
So
I feel comfortable here.
I get what you're saying, but I feel like you're trying to make it seem like, oh, you only protect black women sometimes.
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm
I
saying.
And I also think that you're like the other people that actually do that, you're compounding that on to Ryan Clark as well. It's like
That's what
it's not
I'm
just him.
introduced to him at that when he's pressing Andrew Schulz. When he was pressing Andrew Schulz, I said, "Oh, he's one of these niggas." I didn't know that. I didn't know. So I better see this energy. And then the next time when I hear you talk about it, You telling me you have a conversation and then remove it? What is that?
But do you know why he even responded to Andrew Schulz to begin with?
Because the story was huge. He wasn't even responding
because he said there was a lot of black women in his personal life that felt like they wanted him to speak out for them. He said that in the podcast. So he was like, a lot of black women in my life was like, yo, I feel like that this shit is just running and we don't have anybody really protecting us in this conversation.
Which doesn't make it right, but also doesn't make it wrong. That he listened to the black women around him.
So when he tells,
exactly,
it's not just coming from
the intention was pure, but
in terms of protecting black women,
which is always
so
great.
When you interview somebody who's been convicted of something, some sort of violence against black women, those same black women don't watch that episode and say, "Damn, Ryan, you didn't ask him nothing about that thing he got convicted for when he beat up his ex-wife."
Not if they don't ask him.
He did.
And now I'm looking at you like somebody who is essentially, it's like silent racism. Like if you don't say something, you're the type of nigga that condones it too. But Andrew Schulz is bothering you so much.
I guess the major point. I guess I get what you're saying. Like the point isn't really protecting black women; it's protecting black women from white men talking about them. Like that's the biggest. That's a bigger point than just protecting black women to Ryan. Is that what you're saying? Like, it has nothing to do with black women. It's
that's
all
how
about,
it seems for sure.
It's all about trying to fight the man.
Exactly.
You saying it's from okay?
Yeah,
I can easily see.
I'm saying that is another point that could be spun off of what I'm saying as well too. Like, okay, maybe we only have that energy towards white people. That could be a possibility.
Which is the truth.
Where I'm coming from is, if you're protecting black women, it shouldn't matter who's it's coming from. It should be standing on protecting black women at all times.
Now, what if Ryan comes out and says, I don't want to destroy black men in an effort to protect black women?
He said he doesn't destroy. He said he asked in a
No, but I'm saying in terms of like, all right, if you have a conversation with a nigga, y'all go there and he asks for you to take it out and you're like, nope, I'm standing on this shit. I'm dropping it. Call it extorting or exploding, whatever you want to do. I'm putting it out there.
You shouldn't have those.
You're damaging, like you're putting harm on the nigga reputation. That isn't like a not for nothing act. So I could understand him not wanting to go that deep into it because it's like
not when you jump out there. And this is why I'll say that if I was an activist for niggas beating a woman, any sort of domestic assault, that means no matter how big of the guest is, if I make myself an advocate for it, I don't care if it's 20 years later and I get an interview with Chris Brown, I have to ask him about that. Whether it be respectful or an inflammatory, I have to bring it up because I've also been advocating against men hitting women. I don't care how big it is. It could be anybody. It could be Obama. If he had a story, even though I'm getting an Obama interview and they respectfully asked me to not do it, if I'm an advocate, I have to ask that because I'm an advocate for this cause. So you're not an advocate for this cause if you're willing to ignore it or have the conversation and remove it.
It depends on which one you care about more, like respecting the interviewer or respecting whatever moral like
you gotta respect
standpoint
yourself.
You're coming from.
Yeah, you got to respect yourself. If this is what you're putting out there,
and
I have to be true to myself. I have to be true to this new audience that I've gained because I'm this type of nigga. But I got the time to take it out.
But it seems like the intention, like what we were saying, like the black women around him were telling him, like that's good intention, but it's not coming from him. It's not coming from himself. It's coming from like outside sources. So I do get what you're saying, like just in terms of the consistency, but the sentiment is still the same. Like just because it's not coming from his gut
doesn't mean he's
I won't even say I'm not like an advocate. I'm an advocate for certain things. I'm sure. I know I am. I'm not about to like list them off, but like, okay, there's like certain things that like if I got a Chris Brown interview, yes, I'm an advocate. I would never want any man to put their hands on a woman. But I'm also not going to bring it up just because it's like, if it was like just happened within the last 6 months or something like that, or 3 months, I'm 100% asking.
Yeah.
Like as the interviewer, because it's something new, it's relevant. It's like what's happening right now, you know, or recently within your life. I wouldn't ask about Rihanna from 25 years ago. But when you're an advocate, I don't care if it's 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. That means I have to ask all of them.
Wait, so you have to be, because you're an advocate though?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know.
A little
Okay.
extreme.
That sounds a little bit extreme. I don't know if you want to cut this out, but I'll put my fingers up so you know.
Okay.
Even with like Adam, right? We
Let's
talked
talk
to
about
him.
it, yeah. I was going to bring him up as an example.
Okay, I don't know, but
No, we're leaving that,
We
for
talked
sure.
to him. We've had conversations with him. I honestly didn't ask him.
People have
Trust
gotten
me.
on us for not
And
bringing up
trust me,
this shit when we was
I
there.
don't want that to happen to anybody. If that's
And I agree
if
with
what
that.
happened was true, my daughter, my cousin, anybody, like it doesn't
100%.
matter.
100%.
So it's
yeah.
and we're not advocates, but we don't want it. So where does that put us? Are we good for not asking them?
Just like I said with the other situation, if the Adam 16 allegations had just come up within that previous year, the moment we got our first collab, I would have asked about it.
Why does
For sure.
time frame matter though?
Time frame matters because, well, this is me. This is me though. This is me. I'm
Okay.
talking about
Okay.
what I would do.
I'm just listening.
But
Because you're not an advocate.
yeah, because I'm against it, but I'm not like, that's not one of my, it's not in the bio of my Instagram.
Is that in the bio of Ryan Clark's Instagram?
I don't know, but it's like, I'm just using it as like an example.
Like,
of
and
like,
is he
like, I'm
that
not-
serious
like, I'm
about
not-
it?
Just
Like-
just explain your point.
You know what I'm
'cause
saying?
I
But
just-
long story short, like I would ask some shit on the integrity of, nigga, this is some fresh shit. This is some goofy shit. But also anytime the Adam 22 or Adam 16 things have come up and somebody's asked about it, even when we were out there on the West Coast, I'm like, nigga, that shit looked weird. It looked like he was red shirting her. It looked like he crossed the line. I never strayed away from those points
Yeah.
either. You know what I mean? I never was like, oh man, it was just a year ago. No, you asked me. I think that shit was weird. It's fucking shit was weird. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
something about a couple things don't add up in that story, you know? But yeah, I'm not gonna every time I run into somebody do it, but if it's relevant, I'm gonna ask.
It's so hard, man. It's so hard, like, because it's a lot of shit that I care about that I don't advocate for. It's a lot of shit
For sure.
that I joke about people, like where the bad conditions that I still feel for.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I feel that.
Like if I make a joke about a homeless person, that doesn't mean I don't care about homeless people at all. You know
Right,
what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
Like I still care about what they're going through, even though it's not affecting me per se.
Right.
But does that mean I can't make a joke about homeless people
Nope.
or fat
Why
people?
are you taking them other niggas? Why are you taking the other stuff out though? Why are you taking it out?
Because he was asked to take it out.
There's no reason.
What do you mean there's no reason?
There's no reason to take it out.
There's a very good reason to take it out because you don't want to embarrass your guests.
Did they not know? Even if they knew it happened, why don't we just scrap the whole thing?
Wait,
Can we
though
listen
that
to them talk about it?
Yeah, let's
Can we-
let's do
we
that.
haven't
And
even
I
heard-
think those guests happen after those happen before this, so it doesn't really count.
And also in those situations, I'm pretty sure that like when these retired football players come up, they're not talking about like domestic violence cases from 2 weeks ago. A lot of the times this should happen early
Right,
on
which
in
means-
niggas' careers.
And it makes it seem like he's making it seem like he brings it up because they had something. So he's advocate enough to bring it up every time they get there, but you're not an advocate enough to leave the conversation in, but you'll take those out.
Right,
Even
you
if
should-
it is even if it is a story from the athlete 20 years ago, it's like, you're obviously bringing up 20-year-old stories. Just leave it in there, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I feel.
Let's see.
Yeah, just play it.
Man, I get a whole section that's not even part of an episode. And these guys who we know have actually like, for like a joke, and these guys who have actually like hurt black women and convicted, not allegations, because I don't go off of allegations, I go off of conviction. Everybody can get an allegation, it means nothing. And then these guys, they don't get anything. So in that moment, I was like, this feels like a clout play. It doesn't feel like the highest priority is protecting these women. So that was my initial reaction.
So I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
We have had people on this show that have been convicted for domestic violence that have pulled it out of the show.
That pulled it out of the show.
That I have asked about it.
Oh, and then
that
they're
have-
like, I don't want it on the show.
Yeah, and I do because people come on our show voluntarily. Of
course.
I do ask those questions in respectful ways. Right? I'm not, hey man, you're a woman beater, but I will say, like, in one of the instances that was pulled, I said, look, you know, you were convicted of something that no man wants attached to his name.
Amen.
And they answered it. We talked to their people. I was like, man, the answer was good, like, and they pulled it out of the show. So we've had that happen.
Nobody can pull
We
it
also
out.
had an instance with one of our guests who was talking about sexual assault, and he talked about it in a way that almost said that, okay, how do we blame the women? And I addressed that as well.
Yeah.
So as far as for me, I try to address it in every opportunity
Right.
that I get a chance to with them.
Yeah.
I try to ask them questions in ways that they get to tell their side of the story.
Yep.
When they sit with us, I do not bash them over the head with it, condemn them, or judge them in the moment.
Yeah.
I do try to have a conversation about it.
We're all like hypocrites. Like
Hippos.
nobody's
So why are we pulling it out?
Because that's how he runs his platform. He don't want to feel like he's disrespecting his guests' wishes.
Look,
I don't want to hear no protecting black women shit no more from this nigga. Unless he start putting them conversations in there. I don't want to hear none of it.
I just don't think the idea of like you can't do this if you do this, that doesn't
not that
always work in theory. You know what I'm saying?
It out. Who is they? Ain't this your show?
That's another that they was very ambiguous. It sounded he
So
made
I
it
will
he
take-
made it
I
seem
will
like
take
four.
everything back.
He made it seem like 4 people. Because it's probably only one.
Like the interviewee and their whole team.
But he in terms of like
With your product though, or the whoever is under the pivot. What's the pivot under? Like network wise.
no idea.
Who are they? Yeah, go to the description.
Are they on the Black Effect?
You might have to Google that
No,
shit.
that's
night.
Up in Smoke.
All the smoke.
All the smoke. Sorry.
Yeah.
Does it have any company thing? Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, nah.
Something makes
it's-
me want to say volume. I don't know. I don't know if that's right though.
But what was the major point to that? That we was talking about?
I'm disgusted that they take it out. I'm not gonna lie. I'm disgusted that they take it out. I think that's crazy.
I don't know, dog.
I think it's crazy.
It's like Vox.
You've never done that?
Fox. Okay.
Vox.
Yeah, you've never taken
we've
out
done
something
that.
that a guest didn't want in there?
That a guest hasn't won? No.
I believe
You've
you
never
left
done
stuff
that?
in that a guest wanted taken out.
Yeah, you are that kind of nigga.
Never done that. Yeah.
Shout out to that guy. It was funny though. It was hilarious.
Unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you remember.
I forgot about
Yeah.
It was hilarious though. But it
was
but you
really
left it
good.
in though. He wanted to take it out. But you did take a lot out.
that. I did a lot. I did a lot.
A lot more.
That's a particular situation.
Yeah.
Like,
And y'all see what I did.
And completely different from sexual
I
assault,
felt-
by the way.
Yeah, very different. Very different. This is just a real life story. That was
Yeah,
only different,
yeah.
but you're very different. There was no crimes in this story
No
on
crime.
any level.
Crimes against masculinity.
Yeah, possibly.
But that was the only crime.
But what was I about to say?
so do you think that there's a certain level of severity to something that you say that you wouldn't take out for a person, even if they ask you to, at Menace Material?
I probably won't put the whole thing out.
What do you mean you probably wouldn't put the whole thing out? Like if you can't put it out in its entirety, you're just not putting it out at all.
Right. You can't tell me what I'm
I
taking
can't
out
wait
of-
for you to stand for something so we
can't-
can test this.
That's fine, yeah. But you can't tell me to take things out of my production. You wouldn't have come to me. What he just articulated, it almost sounds like everybody knows if you go to the pivot, he will ask you about this shit. Now, it also might be conversation that he gonna ask you, but he'll also take it out if you talk
If
to
you
him.
would like, yeah.
Right.
That
But-
sounds like a pretty safe environment to have
But
some
if
conversations.
but there's also safe environment. I don't know. But why would you? You can't just pick and choose when you want to stand on
get
that
what you-
shit.
like sexual assault isn't an easy conversation.
Right,
So like the
it's-
process of that shouldn't just be like, oh damn, you want it taken out? Okay, I'm sorry.
Fuck outta
And
here.
I
Yeah.
understand that sentiment, but it's so tricky because he's having on his friends and people that he knows and people that he holds dear to his heart. And it's a certain
you only
amount
need
of
one example. Like you see somebody, we're just gonna use Chris Brown just because that's easy. You see me interview Chris Brown and I ask him about Rihanna. You know what type of nigga I am during these interviews. I'm at work
Yeah.
and you know what's coming. You know what I'm saying? Like we can have a great safe space conversation. I'm not gonna be disrespectful about it. I'm not gonna call you a woman beater. Just like he articulated, I can do it respectfully as a motherfucker. But you know, coming over here, it's like the lore of the Breakfast Club. It's like if something just happened that was embarrassing or less favorable for you, you know it doesn't matter what happens. Your team can say whatever they want. Charlamagne gonna ask that question. Like that's just what's gonna happen. So, but now you also got this thing of take it out, man. We're good.
and I mean, look, man, it's
It ain't for me. I can't do it.
yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Nobody's ever gonna tell us the truth.
Is it-
Yeah, what the fuck, man? Got me out here standing on shit and you not even standing on it. Hell no, bro. That is crazy.
so Andrew Schulz sunned him.
Yeah. And Ryan Clark hates
He ran
black
routes
women.
around him.
I hate black women, but he definitely uses it to his advantage. He thought he can get a free lick off that dog pile. That's really what happened.
He tried to
The
use
shits and gig, Andrew Schulz dog pile. He thought he can get a nice little quick lick off of it and then just right after Andrew stopped speaking, embarrassed him, like said the worst thing he could possibly say.
Yeah.
I asked everybody in a respectful manner, but then I take it out. Nigga, what? And you had the nerve to stand on business with me?
Yeah.
Hell no, bro. Take that shit somewhere else. That's crazy.
Checkmate.
Bro, it was checkmate for the interview right there for me. He took a L, crazy L.
Yeah, well, shout out to Brian Clark. I mean, hey.
Yeah.
I guess you can't protect black women no more, nigga. You don't mean it.
You don't. I don't think you mean it.
You protect your guests, you don't mean that shit.
That's
nigga.
a fact. You're guest over black women.
Mm-hmm.